9 to 5, Sunday 10 to 4. Adults $5, kids under 16 free. Buy one, get one free Thursday. And military, active, or retired save $2 every day. The Ocala RV Show.
One of the most common questions those nearing retirement are asking, will I outlive my money? Retirement questions like these and many more will be answered every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement with hosts Francois and Julian Cozenet. Francois and Julian will help you put your retirement puzzle together. Catch Planning for a Better and Safer Retirement Saturdays at 9 a.m. on Ocala's News Talk, The Source 96.3 FM and 1370 AM.
20 minutes after 8 o'clock. Thank you for tuning in. One of the small businesses that we all go to probably more often than any other small business is a restaurant, I would think. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're a small business and you're shampooing dogs or something like that, I'm sure you'll have enough customers to keep you afloat. I hope, anyway. But I think we all go. And whenever you go into a new restaurant and you know it's one of these mom and pops and you know they put everything into it, you know their life savings went into this thing, you say, gosh, let's support this. Let's eat here. Let's tell everybody about this place. You know, you're really rooting for. I always do anyway. I'm always like a cheerleader for small business. And regardless of what it is, typically. Robb Hilson is on the phone. He's the small business executive at Bank of America, and they have what they call the Fall 2015 Small Business Owner Report. Let's see what that report reveals. Robb Hilson, good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Larry, and I will tell you really struck a chord with me. I have a daughter that is a recent graduate of the Culinary Institute, and she wants to be a top chef in her own restaurant at some point.
Yeah, that's a dream for so many people, and it's so hard for a community to support that. A lot of times there's kind of an overabundance of them. You have to find your niche, I think, right?
Exactly right. You got to have a good plan, and you've got to have really good, talented employees that buy into the culture and are really focused on customers.
So does the Small Business Owner Report reveal anything about the preparation to buying a business, like the market studies and things like that?
Well, the punchline, the headline for the fall report said that in spite of turmoil around the globe and crazy markets and everything, they are expecting to do very well this year on virtually any question. There was a significant rise in optimism from the previous year. 2/3 expect to hire in 16, more expect to borrow, more expect to grow this year and beyond. So it was a very encouraging report.
We have some examples of small businesses here in Ocala that have maybe 20 or 30 people in them, and they started out as a two-man operation, and they grew to the point. Some of them are even manufacturing. We always hear about them because we have a segment we do every 2 weeks regarding some job opportunities. So we can see that whole thing about growth. So that's good news, isn't it? Obviously.
It is, and one of the things that manufacturers told us, small businesses in general, but specifically manufacturers told us they expect to borrow more in 2016, and particularly to reinvest in new equipment.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
And
that's exactly right.
Do you think the small business owner is going back to having a 50% of their business, not just in brick and mortar, but also online sales instead of focusing more online sales?
We are seeing a continued increase in online, but what we're also seeing, and maybe one of the surprises in the survey said that in spite of virtually all small business owners leveraging technology more and more, they also expected to visit with their customers or touch their customers face to face more so today than 5 years ago. So they're using technology, they're using the internet, but they're certainly interested and focused on touching them face to face as well.
I'm wondering if any of those 3D printers are playing a role in some of the companies and the relationship the business would have with the bank in getting the money to buy those things.
No question. I mean, what we've seen and anecdotally what small business owners tell us as well is that it's much easier to get in business and drive scale, build scale today than it was 5, 10, 15 years ago because of technology. But again, whether it's internet or otherwise, focus on the customer, attracting, retaining, developing top talent is paramount to being successful.
And is it easier for customers now to get loans than, say, 20 years ago?
Well, it's certainly easier to get a loan today than it was 5 or 6 years ago, and I think that again is expressed in evidence in the confidence. About a little more than a third of small business owners expect to borrow this year, and that was about half 2 or 3 years ago. So they're feeling more confident. There's greater demand for their product, and so they're looking to expand.
So you mentioned that 1 in 3 intend to apply for a loan in 2016, probably for new equipment. Does the bank look at that favorably? Do they say, well, goodness, you're growing your business. This is good for us because we know you're going to stick around. We know you're confident in your business. Does it fare well as far as the bank is concerned?
Yeah, absolutely. We want to make every good loan we can, and small business, as you all know, is very important to the overall U.S. economy. So that confidence is a good sign for banks, and certainly Bank of America.
Does the upcoming election have anything to do with any of the questions in the survey?
Well, interestingly enough, it is concern about the election, the upcoming presidential election in particular, was the top emerging concern. So the primary concerns continue to be, and this is related, lack of function, if you will, with government leaders and containing healthcare costs. But that was the top emerging concern. So everybody's focused on it. But I'd also tell you that they're not distracted. They're focused on blocking and tackling in their primarily local markets, taking care of their customers.
Okay, so local markets. So a lot of it does any of it have to do, I guess, with exports?
Some export, but most small business owners in the U.S. sell within the U.S. and mostly locally. And but to the extent that many of them buy their product overseas, the strong U.S. dollar on a relative basis is improving their margins. They're buying their goods cheaper, and obviously being able to sell them locally is a good formula for them.
And do you think some of the small businesses are also incorporating that technology that is overseas, and they're looking forward to having different kinds of partnerships like that, where they actually bring people from overseas here?
We hear that from time to time. It was not an overriding theme in the survey, this one or in previous ones, other than to say a resounding need for small businesses is to find the right talent, find the talent that is going to adopt the culture of the business, if you will, and retain that talent and then develop it.
Wow!
So 1,001 small business owners were surveyed in the report, and they seem optimistic. It sounds like, for the most part. For those listening who didn't participate in the survey, I'm guessing that it's the same way. I feel pretty optimistic too. I mean, this is a small business, this radio station, and
right.
And what Robin and I do on the side is really small business. but I think, yeah, we're optimistic too, and ours, I guess, would be considered a service industry since there's no tangible product. Is it across the board, the tangible products and the service industries and everybody? Are we all kind of on the same page in this regard?
There was general optimism across the board, and whether it was generational, whether it was the baby boomers or the millennials, and everybody had an increased optimism. At the end of the day, folks are they're betting on the U.S. consumer, and as long as the job market continues to improve, there's more money in their pocket vis-a-vis lower gas prices, housing strong, low interest rates, all of that props up the U.S. consumer, and that's good for small businesses. Are
some of the businesses offering people, when they come to work for them, that they will help them with their schooling so they can advance in degrees, thereby staying with the company in a huger capacity? We don't see that a lot with the typical small business, and we're talking about firms. We surveyed those up to $5 million in revenue, but most of the ones we're talking to are much smaller than that. So you generally don't see that as a perk, but you are seeing more focus on making sure they can attract the right employees. So they're thinking about things that are what I would consider to be less traditional. So
making the workplace more accommodating, offering more telecommuting options, more accommodating, believe it or not, for having your pet at the office, all kinds of things, because they know that a happy employee makes for a productive employee that takes good care of their customers.
Oh, that's wonderful.
So in 20 seconds, give us some information so we can look into this further and maybe even consider a loan. Do you have a website?
Absolutely. There's lots of tools and resources at bankofamerica.com/small business.
Okay, bankofamerica.com/small business. Thank you, Rob. That was great information. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. GOP presidential candidates are getting ready to face off in tonight's Fox News Google debate.
Donald Trump continues to maintain that he will not be at the debate tonight here in Des Moines, Iowa on the Fox News channel. Ever so important because not only is this the last debate before Monday night's caucuses, but it's also the first debate here in Iowa as well.
Blake Berman with the Fox Business Network.